is my guide, Attar is my guide. By the grace of Allah, Attar is my guide. My Murshid has changed millions of lives. The prophetic Sunnah, he is revived. The leader of the Sunnis, he is our pride. By the grace of Allah, Attar is my guide.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. Amma ba'd. Fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulallah. Wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Nabiyallah. Wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Noorallah. Dear Islamic brothers, dear viewers and listeners of Madani channel, we welcome you back to another beautiful episode of the Silsila, Discourses of Attar. At the beginning of the Silsila, as always, we encourage our viewers, ourselves as well, that please make as many good intentions as you possibly can, that I will listen to the Silsila for the pleasure of Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal, for the pleasure of Rasulullah Sallallahu Ta'ala Alaihi wa alihi Wasallam. I will note down whatever important points there are. I will try to practice and implement this in my life. I will try to encourage it to my family members, my spouse, my children, my friends, and my society, inshallah ta'ala. In this way, whatever good intentions you can think of, make it now, inshallah, to gain maximum rewards, inshallah ta'ala. It is stated in Al-Qawl al-Badi', after the death of Sayyidina Shaykh Ahmad bin Mansur, alayhi rahmatullahi al-Ghafoor, a person dreamt that he was wearing a heavenly robe with a pearl crown, a crown made of pearls, and he was standing in the mihrab of the masjid in Shiraz. The dreamer asked, "Ma fa'ala Allahu bika?" How did Allah Azza wa Jal treat you? He replied, Allah Azza wa Jal has forgiven me. He has conferred respect on me. He has honored me with this crown of pearls and made me enter into Jannah, into paradise. The person asked, how did you get this reward? Shaykh Ahmad bin Mansur alayhi rahmatullahi al-Ghafoor answered, Alhamdulillah Azza wa Jal, I used to recite Salatul Salam, Durood Sharif, upon Rasulullah Sallallahu Ta'ala Alaihi wa alihi Wasallam in abundance. This is the deed which benefited me. Subhanallah. Sallu ala al-Habib, Sallallahu Ta'ala ala Muhammad, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Salatan wa salaman alayka ya Rasulallah. Dear Islamic brothers, dear viewers and listeners of Madani channel, we too must put our efforts into reciting as much durood and salawat upon Rasulullah Sallallahu Ta'ala Alaihi wa alihi Wasallam as we can, with the right intentions, with good intentions. Inshallah ta'ala, we will see these benefits, especially when we leave this dunya, this world. Shaykh Abdullah Shafi'i alayhi rahmatullahi al-Qawi has stated whilst in his travels that once I was going towards a village in Basra. In the afternoon, all of a sudden, a horrible hijacker, a thief, attacked us. This horrible person martyred my companion, and after snatching the money and belongings, he tied my hands with a rope. He laid me on the ground and he ran away. He escaped. Somehow, I managed to unfasten my hands and I resumed my journey. But I forgot my way until the sunset took place. I moved forward in a certain direction where I saw a fire which was burning. After walking some distance, I came across a tent. I was rather exhausted due to the intense thirst. Therefore, I stood at the entrance and I called out. I said, Al-Atash, Al-Atash, which means thirst, thirst. Unfortunately, the tent belonged to that same hijacker, that same murderer. Instead of bringing the water, listening to my call, this horrible person came out with a sword and intended to finish me off in the first strike. That horrible person, his wife obstructed his way, but he did not give up. He dragged me far away into the jungle. He sat upon my chest, placed his sword on my neck, and was about to slaughter me when suddenly a lion appeared, roaring from the bushes. Seeing this lion, the horrible person fell far away out of fear. The lion mauled him badly and then disappeared into the bushes. I thanked Allah Azza wa Jal for this divine intervention. Dear Islamic brothers, dear viewers and listeners of Madani channel, have you realized the dreadful aftermath of cruelty? Sayyidina Shaykh Muhammad bin Ismail Bukhari, alayhi rahmatullahi al-bari, has reported in Sahih al-Bukhari that Sayyidina Abu Musa Ash'ari radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, the famous companion, he has stated that Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam said, verily Allah gives respite to the cruel until when He Azza wa Jal grabs him, then He does not release him. After saying this, Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam recited the verse of Surah Hud, verse 102. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. كذلك أخذ ربك إذا أخذ القرى وهي ظالمة إن أخذه أليم شديد. Translation from Kanzul Iman. And similar is the Caesar of your Rabb when he seizes the townships upon their injustice. Indeed, his Caesar is painful, severe. The terrorists, the murderers, the criminals, they should pay heed and careful attention to this above-mentioned incident. They should not forget about the consequences of doing their wrongs, because when divine torment and adhab and punishment grabs such people, they suffer a terrible death, and there is none to mourn for them. Nobody is saddened. Above all, they would be tormenting and great punishment in the hereafter, in the akhirah. And nobody can deny this. Nobody can also bear this. Indeed, oppressing people is a sin. It brings suffering in one's worldly life and the afterlife, and results in the torments of Jahannam. Cruelty is a violation of the commands of Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal and His beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam, and it results in the violation of human rights, huququl ibad. Allama Jurjani, Quddisa Sirruhun Nurani, has defined the meaning of cruelty in his book At-Ta'rifat, that to make a misuse of something. According to the Sharia, the Islamic sacred law, cruelty means to do injustice with somebody's rights, or to misuse something, or to penalize one person, any person who has not committed the offense. Those who are terrible people and commit wrongdoings, especially in this incident which was mentioned, the parable of which you have just read, you have just listened to, that person used to kill innocent people and commit theft and robbery. He received the punishment in this worldly life. And who knows what adhab, what punishments he would be facing in his qabr, in his grave. Furthermore, accountability, hisab, on the day of judgment is yet to be carried out. Even today, it is common that thieves and robbers, etc., they do not hesitate in taking the lives of innocent people. Remember, killing innocent people is a horrible and terrible sin. Sayyidina Muhammad bin Isa Tirmidhi alayhi rahmatullahi al-qawi, in his famous hadith collection called Tirmidhi, has narrated from Sayyidina Abu Sa'id Khudri and Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, that if all those in the skies and those on the earth would accomplice in killing a Muslim, then Allah Azza wa Jal will make them fall headlong into the fire. Those who swindle money out of people unlawfully, those who commit burglaries, those who demand money by sending threatening letters, they should pay special attention. Today, the valuables that are grabbed through haram means look very attractive and easy to consume. But remember, on the day of judgment, it will cause huge troubles for this person. Listen, O people, Sayyidina Faqih Abu Layth Samarqandi alayhi rahmatullahi qawi has reported in Qurratul Uyun. He says, verily, there are shackles of fire on the bridge of Sirat. The one who takes even a dirham through an unfair means, his feet will be tied with the shackles of fire. These shackles will cause difficulties for him to cross the bridge of Sirat until the owner of that dirham does not take compensation for it from this person's good deeds. And if he runs out of good deeds, he will have to carry the burden of the sins of the owner as well. And as a result, he will fall into the pits of Jahannam. Sayyidina Muslim bin Hajjaj Qushayri alayhi rahmatullahi al-qawi has reported in his famous hadith collection, Sahih Muslim, the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam asked, do you know who is penniless? The beloved companions, alayhim ridwan, the Sahabi Kiram, alayhim ridwan, they replied, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam, penniless is the one among us who does not have any money, any dirhams or other assets. The beloved Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam replied, in my ummah, penniless is the one who will have salah, he will have fast and zakah on the day of judgment, but would have abused or slandered somebody, would have swindled somebody out of money, or killed somebody, beaten somebody. So from his good deeds, some would be given to one victim and some would be given to another. And if before the compensation of the rights that he had trampled upon, all his good deeds are finished, the wrongdoings, the sins of the victims will be transferred into his account, the account of that ruthless person, and then he will be thrown into the fire of hell. O those who offer salah, those who observe fast, those who perform hajj, who discharge their zakah properly, those who contribute in sadaqat, in charities, O the pious looking people, have fear and tremble. Indeed, the penniless is he who, despite performing virtuous deeds like salah, like fast, like zakah, like hajj, contributing in charity and other welfare services, they would remain deprived on the day of judgment. To whom one would have made upset by abusing that person at times, or scolding where the Sharia, the Islamic sacred law, does not permit, or insulting, or beating, or not returning borrowed things intentionally, or not paying back the debt, or by hurting people's feelings, Muslims' feelings, such people would seize all his virtuous deeds, and if his good deeds are exhausted, are finished, he would be thrown into the fire of hell, carrying the burden of the sins of all those that he has abused. It is reported in Sahih Muslim that Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam said, you people will have to restore the rights to the sufferers. Even the horned goat will be avenged for the hornless goat. It means that if you did not fulfill the rights of the people in this world, then you will have to fulfill it and restore their rights to them on the day of judgment. In the worldly life, with money, and in the afterlife, with good deeds. This is how we will have to fulfill. Therefore, it is wise to respect the huquq and the rights in this worldly life in order to escape the sufferings in the akhirah and the afterlife. It is mentioned in Mirat Sharh Mishkat, though animals are not accountable for Shar'i obligations, they will still have to restore the rights to beings. Those who fear Allah Azza wa Jal are so careful as regards to the recognition of huququl ibad, human rights, even in apparently unimportant dealings, that leave us astonished. Sayyidina Ibrahim bin Adham, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, the great waliullah, he found an apple, and this was floating in a stream in an orchard. So he found this apple, he picked it up and he ate it. As soon as he ate it, he felt extreme regret for what he had done. That is, why he had eaten it without the permission of the owner. Therefore, he proceeded towards the orchard in search of the owner. A lady was the owner of that orchard. He apologized for this act, and the lady said, "The king and I both are stakeholders in this orchard. I accept your apology regarding my right, but I do not have the authority to forgive you on behalf of the king." The king was in Balkh. So Ibrahim bin Adham, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, set out for Balkh and ultimately succeeded in seeking consent from that king. Dear Islamic brothers, dear viewers and listeners of Madani channel, there are many morals in the above mentioned parable for those who usurp the possessions of others, who pocket goods from the shops without payment, example fruits, vegetables, etc. What will they do if they will be charged for such acts on the day of judgment? Therefore, Allama Abdul Wahhab Sha'arani Quddisa Sirruhul Nurani has stated in Tanbihul Muhtareen, the famous Tabi'i saint Sheikh Sayyidina Wahhab bin Munabbih rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi has mentioned, an Israeli repented from all his previous sins. Then he worshipped for 70 years constantly in such a way that he would observe fast during the day and would keep in vigil in the night for ibadat and worships. He would not eat delicious food, nor would he take rest under any shade. Upon his death, a person saw him in the dream and asked him, "Ma fa'alallahu bika?" How did Allah Azza wa Jal treat you? He replied, "Allah Azza wa Jal held me accountable for my deeds. Allah Azza wa Jal forgave all my sins, but due to a piece of wood, a toothpick, that I had used to pick my teeth without the permission of the owner, I could not ask him for forgiveness. My mistake. Therefore, I have been prevented from Jannah, from paradise, because of this violation of human rights." Dear Islamic brothers, dear viewers and listeners of Madani channel, please think, please ponder over a small piece of wood. This prevented that Israeli from entering Jannah. Picking the teeth with a worthless piece of wood seems so insignificant compared to people who nowadays swindle millions or billions out of others. Dear Islamic brothers, dear viewers and listeners of Madani channel, we have learnt many lessons from the above mentioned parables. May Allah Azza wa Jalla grant us the ability of understanding and the enthusiasm to practice upon them, so that we may not violate human rights, huququl ibad. May Allah Azza wa Jalla forgive us, our parents and all the Muslims. Please do join us next time on another wonderful episode of the silsila Discourses of Attar. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Attar is my guide, Attar is my guide. By the grace of Allah, Attar is my guide. My Murshid has changed millions of lives. The prophetic Sunnah, he is revived. The leader of the Sunnis, he is our pride. By the grace of Allah, Attar is my guide.